Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an Everyday Life of an Aspie. If you're following me right now and you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life stories with especially syndrome, OCD and the like. So hopefully I can take you all on the journey with what I get up to in my everyday life with this and more, along with the tips and advice along the way with your personal health versus your general health of your mental health and whatnot. I'm also hoping to do other bits and pieces right now as well, just to take myself away from certain topic that could be touching, but like I said, some of these are close to my heart to share with you all regardless. So in the last few series I've been doing, even though they're not the narcissist and psychopathic series as I promised, I said it will come to light. So it's hopefully just trying how to fix up and do up your emotions, deal with your negative emotions, be it whatever it may be it shame, guilt, bitterness, unforgiveness, hate from people and self-hate and the likes, and hopefully along this way that we can actually learn something along the way. Just as a disclaimer, as always, like before I begin these series and more, is that I'm no medical doctor. I'm your normal everyday Joe vlogs. So whatever I say and do is just based on my personal life experience, as well as the training along the side of it. So if you see any of the warning signs and symptoms in regards to any of these topics that I've clearly addressed in the past to the current of present, do seek professional help for yourself or your loved one, because I don't forever condone self-harm. So let's begin this before I run out of time, and hopefully you're enjoying these videos. So if you are, smash the like button or just engage with me by commenting below. Yes, that's where I'm enjoying these. And if you want to see any more videos, topics in the near future of whatever it may be, please let me know in the comments. It'll be much appreciated, because as I said, this is going to hopefully be user-friendly as possible for you all, and it be a safe haven for you all, so that you don't be prejudging it, because I know what it's like. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell to keep up to date and posted with what I share with you all, so that you can follow and journey with me throughout the times when I do upload my new content. So let's begin this anyways, and hopefully we'll learn something. Shame is one of the most destructive and debilitating emotions that any human can feel, and occurs when people feel bad about themselves in comparison to the standards for themselves as well as those of society. Feelings of shame can lead to people engage in self-destructive manner and risky behaviors, such as maybe alcohol and drug use, and could also in the long term lead to physical and emotional problems, including bodily pain, depression, low self-esteem, and anxiety. However, you can avoid this path that you're taking by entirely, if you wanted to, the choice is yours, by making a concerted effort to let go of the shame, and instead just value yourself and your contributions to the world, that you are of value and you are worth something. I believe that we all have a reason and purpose in life, and within this we can shine out and make the world a bit better. It's also important to remember that you are so much more than just the one thing that you may have done, said, or felt, or even to someone that may have said something. Defined as from Wikipedia as a painful social emotion that can be seen fully stem from comparison of the self-state of being with the ideal social context standards. Therefore, thus shame may stem from volitional action or simply self-regard. No action by the shamed being is required. Simply existing is enough. Both the comparison and standards are enabled by socialization. Though usually considered as an emotion, shame may also variously be considered an effort, cognition, state, or condition. The roots of the word shame are thought to derive from an older word meaning to cover, as covering oneself literally or figuratively is a natural expression of shame. In the 19th century, a scientist of Charles Darwin, you may have heard of, in his book The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, describes shame as effects as consisting of blushing, confusion of the mind, downward cast eyes, slack posture, and lowered head, and he noted observations of shame that affected in human populations worldwide. However, he also noted the sense of warmth or heat associated with the vasodilation of the face and skin occurring in the intense shame. Shame can also result in crying, apparently. A sense of shame is the feeling known as guilt, but consciousness or awareness of shame as a state or condition defines core toxic shame that was regarded in research of Laws 1971 and Tangnay 1998. The key emotion in all forms of shame is contempt in the researches of Miller 1994 and Tompkins 1967. These two distinct domains that shame is expressed are the consciousness of self as bad and the other is self as inadequate. People employ negative coping responses to counter deep-rooted associations of shameworthiness. The shame cognition may also occur as a result of the experience of shame, affect, or more generally, in any situation of embarrassment, dishonor, disgrace, inadequacy, humiliation, or chagrin. A state of shame, however, is assigned internally from being a victim of the environment where the sense of self is being stigmatized, like being denigrated by caregivers, overly rejected by parents or your boyfriend or girlfriend in favor of siblings' need, or being their own need, etc., etc. The shame is assigned externally by others, regardless of one's own experience or awareness. To shame generally means to actively assign or communicate a state of shame to another. Behaviors designed to uncover or expose others are sometimes used for this purpose, as are interests like shame or shame on you. Finally, to have shame will mean to maintain a sense of restraint against offending others as with modesty, humility, or deference, while to have no shame is to behave without such restraint as with excessive pride or hubris. Or an easy way to define it from dictionary.com, of a site that I use for my research, shame is also defined as 1. The painful feeling arising from the consciousness of something dishonorable, improper, ridiculous, etc. done by oneself or another. 2. Susceptibility to this feeling. 3. Disgrace or ignominy. So I'm going to break it down to you guys for 2 parts. Part 2 is letting go of all the shame, and then part 1 I should say is this, and part 2 is building up your self-esteem and how to go about all this. So let's begin this right now in this format. Number 1, give up the pursuit of perfection. As we all know, sometimes we feel that we need to be, swayed by the media or just in ourselves or even just by society that we should be perfect. But then trying to be perfect in any one part of our lives is an unrealistic expectation or reality. And it sets up to feel low self-worth and failing more, and even maybe the shame that we don't want to measure up. The idea of perfectionism is a social construction produced by the media and society that suggests we can be fit in the way we look, act, speak, and do things in the way of it all. But this then isn't a reflection of reality also. We all have ideas, thanks to the society and the media, about we should do or we should be. We need to let go of these beliefs, patterns, however, and indeed try to avoid putting stock in the word should. Should statements imply that there is something you ought to be doing or thinking. If you're not, something is wrong with you. Holding yourself up to the impossibly high standards that you can never meet will only create a vicious cycle of shame and low self-esteem, however. Number 2, avoid rumination. Rumination of negative feelings can lead to inappropriate levels of shame and self-loathing. Research has suggested, in fact, that ruminating on your feelings of shame can lead to depression, social anxiety, and even more so, an increased blood pressure. In general, people tend to ruminate more over something that happened to them in a social context, such as a public presentation or performance, rather than a private experience, like a fight with a partner. In saying this, or in part of this, it's because we care deeply about the opinions of others and worry, especially that we have embarrassed or shamed ourselves in the view of others. This causes us to dwell and get stuck in the self-shaming and negative thinking. But remember that rumination, while easy to fall into, doesn't actually solve anything or make the situation better. To be honest and frank with you, in fact, it will make everything worse. Number 3, show self-compassion. Self-compassion can go a long way. If you feel yourself in danger of ruminating, as I've expressed in number 2, nurture self-compassion and kindness to yourself. Be your own friend. Instead of berating yourself and engaging in negative self-talk, for example, I'm stupid, I'm worthless, treat yourself as you would a friend or a loved one. This will require careful observance of your own behaviours and the ability to take a step back and realise that you will not let a friend engage with you in this kind of self-destructive thinking or self-destructive talk. Research has suggested that self-compassion has numerous benefits, including mental well-being, increased life satisfaction, and decreased self-criticism, among others. Number 4, try journaling. When you feel the urge to ruminate, instead of write a compassionate paragraph to yourself that expresses awareness of your feelings, but also recognizes that you are simply human and that you are deserving of love and support for yourself. Even in just the 10 minutes of this expression of self-compassion can make a positive difference. Develop a mantra or habit that you can draw on when you feel a dwelling spiral is about to happen. Try putting your hand on your heart and saying, may I be safe and be kind to myself. May I have ease of both the mind and heart. In this way, you are expressing true care and concern for yourself. 5. Avoid focusing purely on the past. For many people, shame paralyzes them in the present. It makes them anxious, fearful, depressed, and force feelings of low self-worth. However, it's important that you let the past be the past. You cannot change or undo the past, but you can choose how the past affects you in your present outlook and for the future. You are your future. What you do now will determine the future. Leave your shame behind as you forge ahead a better life. But it doesn't help also sometimes when it comes down to this, when you're avoiding it and you're socializing with people that constantly brings up about your past time and time again. It's time to let them go if you feel to. Change and transformation is always possible. This is one of the beautiful things about the human condition. You aren't beholden to your past for all over eternity. Remember that life is about the long haul and that you can always bounce back from a tough period. 6. Show flexibility. Try to avoid responding to your experiences with the all or nothing thinking or judgment. This kind of thinking only creates tensions between the expectations we hold for ourselves and what is actually possible for the now. So much of life isn't black or white but grey. Be aware that there are no true rules for living in your lives and that people behave and think differently and live their own variation of their own rules. Be more open and generous and flexible about the world and try to refrain from passing judgments onto others. Cultivating a more open attitude about how we view society and the people within it often reverberates back into how we think on ourselves. Over time, you may be willing to let go of some of those rigid judgments that result in feelings of low self-esteem and shame. Perfect. Number 7. Let go of the influences of others. If you have negative thoughts in your head, it's possible you have people around you who is giving fodder to those same types of negative messages about you. Even your close family and friends. In order to let go of shame and move forward, you might need to minimize toxic individuals who bring you down rather than lift you up. So it will be time to snap and cut the ties. Consider the negative statements of others to be 10 pound of weight. These weigh you down and it becomes more difficult to bring yourself back up. Free yourself from that burden and remember that people cannot define who you are as a person. Only you can, as a person, define yourself. Number 8. Cultivate mindfulness. Research has clearly shown that mindfulness-based therapy can facilitate self-acceptance and help reduce shame. Mindfulness is a technique that invites you to learn to observe your emotions without hiding emotions. In other words, you can open yourself up to the experiences in a non-reactive manner rather than try to avoid it. The principle of mindfulness is that you need to acknowledge and experience the shame before you can let it go. Mindfulness isn't easy because it means becoming aware of the negative self-talk that often accompanies shame, like self-condemnations, comparisons with others, etc., etc. However, the task is to acknowledge and recognize shame without getting caught up in or giving power to those emotions when it arises. Try to find a quiet space to practice mindfulness. Sit in a relaxed position and focus on your breathing. Count the inhales and the exhales. Inevitably, your mind will wander. When this happens, don't chastise yourself, but take note of what you are feeling. Don't judge it, just be aware of it. Try to bring attention back to your breathing, as this is the real work of mindfulness. By acknowledging but decentering your thoughts, not letting them take over, you are learning how to cope with negative feelings without actually trying to change them. In other words, you are changing your relationship to your thoughts and feelings. Some people have found doing this, eventually the context of your thoughts and emotions has changed for the better for them. Number 9. Embrace acceptance. Accept the things you cannot change about yourself. You are who you are, and that's fine. Some studies have shown that acceptance can help individuals step out of a cycle of shame and move forward to more functional in the way of living. You will have to accept that you can't change the past or go back in time. You have to accept yourself as you are today, right now. Acceptance also involves acknowledging difficulty and showing awareness that you are able to withstand painful feelings in the present moment. For example, say, I know I feel bad now, but I can accept it because I know emotions come and go, and I can work on to resolving my feelings. Or another one is basically the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the changes that I can, and the acceptance to know the difference. I'm trying to remember that, but I'll find it and plus it for you. Part 2, building up your self-esteem. Being 1. Always add to the list as you do new things such as graduate from school, rescue a puppy, or win an award. Also draw attention to things that make you happy with yourself. Maybe you like your smile, or like you say that you're goal directed and you like to aim goals. Return to your list whenever you have doubts or feel that you're not measuring up. Recalling all these things you have done and continue to do so will help you build a more positive self-image on yourself. Number 2, extend a helping hand to others. There's significant research indicating that people who help others or volunteer have higher self-esteem than those who don't. It may seem counterintuitive that aiding others help you feel better about yourself, but the science suggests that connecting with others increasing our own positive feelings about ourselves. As an included bonus, helping others make us happier. In addition, you will also make a real difference in someone else's world. Not only you will be happier, but someone else might as well be too. There are also so many options out there to get involved with others and make a difference. Consider volunteering at a soup kitchen or even a homeless shelter. Offer to coach a children's sports team during the summer. Step in when a friend needs a hand and make them a bunch of meals to freeze. Volunteer at a local animal shelter, and so on and so forth. 3. Offer daily affirmations. An affirmation is a positive statement that is intended to build your confidence and encourage you. Offering yourself positive affirmations each and every day works to restore your sense of self-worth, as well as the increase of the compassion you show for yourself. After all, you probably wouldn't treat a friend the way you treat yourself. Instead, you show them compassion if they express feelings of guilt or shame. Do the same for yourself also. Be kind to yourself. Set aside a time each day to say aloud, write or think affirmations. But like I usually do in here with these daily affirmations, I usually do it in the mornings, looking in the bathroom mirror and actually do it. Some examples may include, I'm a good person, I deserve the best, even if I have done some questionable things in my past. I make mistakes and I learn from them. I have lots to offer to the world. I have value to myself and others. Number 4, know the difference between opinions and facts. For a lot of us, it can be hard to separate out opinions from facts. A fact is a true state that is inferable, while an opinion is something you think may be based on some facts, but it's not itself a fact. For example, I am 17 years old, as a fact. You were born 17 years ago and have the birth certificate to prove it. There is no challenging this fact. However, I'm stupid for my age and opinion, even if you might seem to offer evidence confirming this, like not being able to drive or not having a job. However, if you think more carefully about this opinion, you can evaluate it more critically. Maybe you can't drive because your parents work too much and haven't had time to teach you, or you can't afford the driving lesson. Maybe you don't have a job because you spend your after-school time looking after your siblings. Thinking more carefully about the opinions you would hold will help you realize that negative opinions can often be reevaluated with a closer look at the details. Number 5, appreciate your own uniqueness. When you compare yourself with others, you're cheating yourself out of valuing your own individuality. Just remember your own self. You are your own you. We've only got the one of us. Remember you are a unique individual and you have a lot to offer to the world. Put your shame behind you and shine like you were meant to shine. Focus on highlighting your individuality and those neat things that makes you you, rather than hiding behind the veil of social conformity, I should say. Maybe you like mixing quirky clothes and patterns together in your self-presentation. Maybe you have a passion for Europop. Maybe you're really skilled at building things with your hands. Embrace these aspects and attributes rather than just trying to hide them. Show them to the world. You might be surprised and impressed at what kind of innovations can come from honing in on your particular skills and thoughts. After all, Alan Turing, Steve Jobs, and Thomas Edison were all individuals whose uniqueness helped foster the exceptional discoveries and contributions. Nowhere is it written that you have to look like everyone else, act like everyone else, talk like someone else, think like someone else, be interested in the same hobbies and follow the same life trajectory. Not everyone, for example, actually has to follow the current fashion or music trends or settle down by the time they're 30 and get married and have kids. These are just the things that the media and society promote, as well as maybe some of the values and morals that has been instilled in us, but aren't in fact real existing truisms. But what you feel is best for you and what makes you feel good and happy and at peace in yourself is more important. Remember that the only person who has to feel good about you is you. You have to live your life with yourself. So follow the beat of your own drum, not anyone else's. Number 6, surround yourself with positive social support. Almost all humans from time to time will benefit from social and emotional support, whether it's from family, friends, co-workers, and others as the social networks. It's helpful for us to talk and strategize with others about our problems and issues. 2 heads are better than 1 sometimes. All in life, social support actually makes us better able to cope on our own with our problems because it increases our self-esteem. Research has clearly shown constantly by a correlation between perceived social support and self-esteem, such that when people believe they have such social support, their self-esteem and feelings of self-worth does increase. Thus, if you feel supported by the people around you, you should feel better about yourself and better able to cope with the negative feelings and stress. Know that when it comes to social support, there is no one-size-fits-all mentality. However, here, some people prefer to have just a few close friends whom they can turn to and trust, while others cast a wider net and find a support among their neighbours or church or even their religious community. Look for the people who you can trust and maintain a personal code of confidentiality. Remember, you don't want to rely on someone who may actually make you feel worse about yourself, even if the person doesn't really intend to do so. Social support can also take new forms in our modern age. If you feel anxiety about having to talk to someone face to face, you can also stay connected with family and friends or meet new people via the social media, video chats, and emails. Number 7, consult a mental health professional. If you're struggling to improve your self-esteem and your feelings that your feeling of shame are adversely affecting your daily mental and physical functioning and it's debilitating your living, you should make an appointment with a counsellor, psychologist, or other mental health professional. In many cases, a therapist can help you develop some useful strategies to improve your self-image and everything else around it. Remember, sometimes people just can't fix everything on their own. Moreover, therapy has shown to have a significant effect on raising self-esteem and the quality of life. In addition, a therapist can help you cope with any other mental health issues that you may be facing as a cause or consequence in low self-esteem, depression, and or anxiety. Well, this basically ends how to let go of shame and building your self-esteem. Give me your like for thumbs up for support, comment below. Feel free to share these videos around to family and friends. Feel free to turn on the notification bell to keep up to date. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so to be part of my YouTube family, because I hope to do this on the daily, weekly, regardless of my schedule. You'll see me around. Hopefully I'll be keeping you guys hopefully up to date with what's happening on my social medias that are linked in the description below. So thanks for your support, guys. Do what you love, what we do. Until next time, Aspie signing out, and I'll see you.